Right. Okay, there we go. So React InstantSearch is about a few months old now, and it's been released. Maybe you've seen it. And it basically takes the idea from our InstantSearch library and brings it into React. The InstantSearch library, if you remember or if you haven't been exposed to it, the idea is that everything in the search experience can be seen as a widget. So in the demo that Alex just had, there was a search bar. There was a refinement list for facets, like brands of television on the side. There were maybe some date filters or some price filters. And what the InstantSearch library instead of patterns does is distill that down to widgets, and you can just say, I want a search box, and I want it here, and I want a refinement, and I want it over here, and I want some date filtering, and it gives you highlighting and typo tolerance and all the basic Algolia engine features too, but in an easy-to-use thing. The only problem is that it was, once you graduated in terms of what you needed functionality-wise out of a widget, you had to really go really far deep into the extraction, and you couldn't use the widget anymore, and you had to write some custom code. So what we did with React InstantSearch is made it so it's much easier to change the behavior of each one of those individual components. So now if you're looking through the documentation on InstantSearch React, you'll see the out-of-the-box things that we still call widgets, and then you'll see this idea of connectors, where you write a React component and then you wrap it with a connector that teaches it to behave like an InstantSearch component. So you teach your component, you give it a hits property as a prime, then it comes into the React component in props, and now you just have hits from the search, and you can iterate over them and create whatever HTML you want. So that's the React InstantSearch part. The other sort of half of what I'm going to show you is based on Electron. So Electron is a framework behind tools like GitHub Atom, and that allows you to run sort of browser code, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, inside of a desktop application, and you can package that desktop application for Linux, for Mac, for Windows. Super handy tool. We have an internal tool here that is based on Electron. That's internal, but it helps us search through all the various places that we have data. As a company, and think all of the companies you work at, you can probably identify with this problem that you have data everywhere and you want to just search it from one place. So we do that internally, and we did that in Electron. So the other day it hit me, could we have React InstantSearch running inside of Electron? Would it be interesting to have a desktop application that does some of that same functionality you saw in the InstantSearch demo? So because I had to figure out if that would be cool, I went ahead and I built a thing. So I'm going to use Alfred to launch it here. And it's just called InstantSearch. That's the name of my application. And it is basically an InstantSearch UI that looks and kind of feels like a native Mac application. So I can actually go into here. What I've done is I actually spent $30 on the internet to buy a CSV for the first time in my life. Never thought, I never thought I'd get the download link. I thought I'd probably just lose $30, or that the formatting would be so horrible. But it was a wonderful piece of serendipity. I found the data, I bought it, and the CSV was perfect. And one thing about the Algolia dashboard you can do is just drop a CSV into it, and it will create a fresh index and drop a CSV in. I put a 40 megabyte CSV into the, I just dropped it on the Algolia dashboard, and it indexed the whole thing, and it was pretty much ready. I thought I was going to have to do all kinds of CSV magic to try to get it into a format, or that I was going to have to write just a little bit of code to parse it and upload it, but no, you can actually drop a CSV right in there and it will work. So I had data right away. And now I have this InstantSearch experience that is a search box, and then these refinement list widgets, so I can actually search for productivity, let's see. And we have some highlighting, we have the facets changing. It's probably a little bit hard to see. The faceting up here is by nationality. It's just what happened to be in the data set. I don't care that much about where it came from, although one thing I do like to observe from this is it looks like Americans talk a lot more than the French. If you see the numbers here, 103,000 quotes and 6,200 in American or from America and 6,200 in French. As a sort of French and American company, we like to joke about these things. You could say that's because most French quotes are probably in French, and you would be right, but I have no defense to that. Just none at all. So anyway, right now today, so this is just the quotes application, but you can take this, put in your own app ID, put in your own index name, change some templating, and you can actually have a working desktop application that does search of something that you can distribute to your coworkers. The UI that you're seeing here is something called Photon. It's at photonkit.com, and it's basically just some CSS that makes it look native. If you're a Windows user, there's another one called React Desktop that will help you do styling for native Windows 10 UI on one side, and then also Mac on the other. And I think that's just on our GitHub now. Yep, so it's just called InstantSearch Electron. It runs, it's a thin layer really on top of React Electron boilerplate, which is a fantastic library that, not library, but boilerplate, that brings together a ton of stuff, including hot reloading. So you're doing a desktop application development, but you're getting hot reloading, and you're getting sophisticated bundling, even things where let you publish auto updates to your users if you want to. So you can actually like auto update this app for your coworkers once they have installed it and you're using it to search something. So it's available today. I'd love your contributions, your feedback. I would love your help on the styling. You can see I'm not a designer at all. I'm sure our designers are going to call me tomorrow and you showed that, but I thought I would show you guys because it was mostly ready functionally. And if you have any questions about it, just flag me down. Otherwise, we're at the end of the talks, so from here on out, just enjoy yourselves. We've got plenty of beer. We'll put some more out, some more food, get to know each other. Before you take off, make sure you head up to the table. We'll give you a t-shirt. We'll give you some stickers and everything. Otherwise, thanks a lot for coming.